Rheneas is a brave little engine who enjoys working in the mountains on the island of Sodor. Even though he is little, Rheneas loves feeling like a really useful engine. One day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Rheneas. "I have a very important job for you," he boomed.
"An important job?" cried Rheneas. "Oh, thank you, sir."
"You are to take some school children up into the mountains. You must make sure they have a wonderful time and are back in time for their lunch."
"Yes, sir,"
said Rheneas. But he was worried. He wasn't sure he was good enough to make the trip special. When Rheneas arrived at the station, the children and their teacher were waiting on the platform.
"How am I going to make the Children's Day really special?"
he said to Rusty.
"You know the mountains better than any engine," said Rusty.
But Rheneas wasn't sure his best would be exciting enough. He felt like a very little engine indeed. Sir Topham Hatt had told Rheneas's driver to point out all the beautiful sights along the way. "This is Sodor Castle," called his driver. "It is very special and important." Rheneas saw the castle every day. He didn't think it was special or important.
"I must think of something exciting to do," he puffed to himself.
"This is the valley view," said his driver. "And here's the viaduct." Rheneas was still unhappy. The trip didn't seem wonderful to him at all.
Must be special, he puffed.
Meanwhile, Rusty was working on the rocky ridgeline. Heavy rains had washed the ground from under the tracks.
"These lines are too bumpy and uneven," said the foreman. "The tracks must be closed for repairs." Must be special.
Rheneas was still trying to think of something that would make the children's trip special. He didn't know the linesman had forgotten to switch the points. Suddenly, Rheneas was on the wrong track.
"Oh no! This line is closed for repairs! Bust my buffers!"
Chuffed Rheneas.
"Be careful!" cried Rusty. "The tracks are very bumpy!"
Rheneas whooshed down the mountain like a roller coaster. The children cheered. Rheneas puffed up the rocky ridge with all his might. His coach clattered and bumped and bounced along behind. And the children oohed and ahed. Rheneas chuffed and puffed as hard as he could. He steamed across the trestle bridge. He was going so fast the teacher nearly lost her hat. Rheneas splashed under a waterfall. The children laughed happily, and the teacher covered her eyes. At last, they could see the station. Rheneas was very tired and worried. What would Sir Topham Hatt say? "Phew," said the teacher. "Just in time for lunch." "It was the best school trip ever," cried the children. Sir Topham Hatt wasn't cross with Rheneas. He was happy, too. "You gave the children a wonderful trip. You really are a very useful engine."
"Oh, thank you, sir,"
puffed Rheneas proudly. Rheneas didn't feel like a little engine anymore.